Awesome. So welcome to An Investor's Dream, How to Invest in Pre-Construction and Resale. Thank you so much for joining. It has been an overwhelming response to this webinar. Over 50 people have registered, so really, really excited. I think a lot of people just want to kind of have some type of direction as to whether it's a good time to buy, what's happening with pricing, interest rates, inflation, all of that. So really excited to go into things on a very granular level. We do have some first-time home buyers attending the webinar, as well as some seasoned investors. So I want to ensure that I'm covering everything so that there's full understanding of pretty much every topic. And in terms of kind of how this call will go, I have everybody on mute, and I want us to keep our questions till the end. And then if you have any questions, just make sure to put it on, either a notepad or your phone, keep it till the end, and then just put in your question in the chat, okay? And then in terms of the booking a call option, so what I've done is I've put in the chat the option for you to book a call. It's very, very important for you to do that because I'm going to be going through things on a very general level, and we all have very, someone's looking for live transcription. So I don't know what that will do. I'm going to decline just because I don't know what the live transcription is going to look like, and I don't want it to cover my slides. But again, yeah, everybody has a different situation. For some people, it's a good time to buy right now. Maybe it's a good time to buy in 3 months, 1 month, whatever the case is. So I want you to book a call with me so I can understand your situation a little bit more, understand your criteria, and then following that, kind of work on developing a plan for you that makes sense to your situation. In regards to everything else, I do want to say that I am a real estate agent. I am not somebody who is a mortgage agent or mortgage broker, but I will be touching on interest rates, and I will also be touching on economics. But I didn't go to school for that, didn't go to school for mortgages, didn't go to school for accounting, but have done my homework and have consulted with my team who have done all the work in the past and have gone to school for that. So excited to touch on that and answer questions to the best of my abilities. And I do want to thank my lovely assistant who has helped in putting together this amazing deck of slides. So let's get into it. Okay, so who am I? Just said, I'm a realtor. A realtor based in Ontario. I do practice real estate, both pre-construction and resale within Ontario. I also do real estate in Alberta. So in Alberta, I only sell pre-construction. I don't sell resale, but in Ontario, I do both resale and pre-construction. I am a mom, wife-to-be. I'm a real estate investor and landlord. So I have a lot of hats that I wear. I am the founder and owner of BTS Homes and Sold by Tish. I am also a VIP Platinum Access Realtor. I do have Platinum Access to various different pre-construction projects through the office that I work for, and also through my relationships that I've built with builders over the past from bringing buyers. And I do, of course, have a lot of access to off-market coming soon and MLS listings. And what I do want to do is I'm going to come off video just because I've noticed that when I'm on video, it kind of blocks my slides, but there will be some parts of the presentation that I actually will be going back on video. Okay, so we have a very full agenda today. We're going to start by talking about the last 10 years in real estate. What's been happening in the real estate world today? What does the future have in store for the real estate market? The financial benefit of buying now rather than waiting, the buying process for pre-construction and resale, deposit and down payment requirements, which is honestly probably the most common question that I get. Deposit, down payment, people just, I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of confusion surrounding that. So I'm going to provide as much clarity today as I possibly can. I'm also going to go into the pros and cons of pre-construction and resale, some home buying tips. We're going to cover some exciting, currently selling and upcoming pre-construction projects at the end. And I'm also going to go into a few listings. And of course, again, guys, please make sure to book your call with me. It's best to book your call toward the end of the webinar, and try to book your call at least, sometime either tomorrow or Friday, and then we can meet. And if you have to book it on Saturday, so be it. So Andrew Carnegie is a philanthropist, and he was one of the richest Americans in history. And one of his quotes that I just love is that 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than in all industrial investments combined. The wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. And he was actually around in the 19th century. And it's funny how this still translates to now. So really, really amazing quote, and just wanted to reference that. So what's been happening in real estate in the last 10 years? So home prices on average went up by 58% from 2011 to 2021 in Ontario. And I want to mention that in this presentation, I'm really not going to be talking too much about my thoughts on real estate and my opinion, because I think we all have our own opinions. I, of course, have mine. Your family and friends have theirs. The news and the lovely media has theirs. So I want to make sure that I'm bringing you guys facts, because it's very, very important in making the right decision with purchasing. So I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of facts, okay? So in 2011, average home prices were at $464,989. In 2021, average home prices were up 1.095, 336, according to Chubb. So 58% in 10 years. Then the COVID-19 pandemic began in early 2020, causing a slowdown in the real estate market. I remember I had listings, and when COVID first hit, I couldn't do open houses. It was driving me crazy because I love doing open houses and meeting people. And I couldn't do open houses the summer of 2020. But people were just not buying. People were scared. People were losing their jobs. They're being laid off. So buyers were scared to buy and sellers were scared to sell. And then with builders, there was very, very little pre-construction launches and sales. I think they were just too scared to sell. So a lot of builders held off on launching during the beginning of COVID. And as a result, interest rates plunged to record lows, and so did the inflation rate. Then finally, we had some safety measures put in place. The market began to regain traction, and then home buyers started to take advantage of low interest rates, which caused a significant spike in prices between the end of 2020 up until about March of this year. Some markets in Ontario seen price gains of over 50% year over year. Okay, so for an example, pricing in Brampton from January 2021 to January 2020 of this year went up over 50%. So we're coming from a market in Ontario where in 10 years, pricing went up by 58% to a market where in just 1 year during COVID, some markets increased by over 50%. Okay, so not good. As heated and as crazy as the market was, and I know a lot of people took advantage of it, made good money, but it just wasn't a sustainable market. Okay, and then the low cost to borrow and buyer demand, of course, caused inflation to spike. And so what inflation is typically a broad measure, such as the overall increase in prices or the increase of cost of living in a country. Canada's inflation rate rose to 8.1% in June of 2020, the highest since January 1983, but actually below market expectations of 8.4%. So I know that you all have seen the rise in prices for many things. Gas costs have skyrocketed, the cost of food, the cost of accommodation, air transport, like everything has just been going up. Although I've been hearing about some really cheap flights. But right now, guys, like the cost of everything has just been going up quite a bit, right? And that's all inflation. So here is kind of a graph of inflation from July 2021 to June 2022 this year. And as you can see, you know, we're starting at the 3.7 mark, and then things just go up and up and up and up to 8.1, right? And that's been, what, a year? Like that is a substantial increase in inflation. And I want you to tell me what you think the Bank of Canada's target rate is for inflation. So if you could just put that in the chat, what you think that number is, that would be great. And we'll see if anybody gets it. So it looks like somebody put something in. Oh, we got 2.5, we got 5. 5.5. Okay. So the Bank of Canada's target rate is 2. 2. And we're now at 8.1. So that's almost 4 times what we really should be at, right? So just not sustainable. It's actually a little bit over 4 times where we really should be, right? So something had to give, right? Awesome answers, guys. And then when we look even more back at inflation rate, right? We've, for the most part, have been around that 2 mark, right? Which is good, right? We're on target to where we really should be. And then of course, COVID-19 happened. Things went down, nobody was buying, everyone was home, locked up, scared. And then safety measures went in place, and then things went up, and then this is where we're at now, 8.1. And then there's mortgage interest rates. So interest rates are pretty much the fee you pay a lender for the use of their money. These rates rise and fall over time. For the Bank of Canada, they are a federally owned corporate organization. They exist to regulate and monitor the Canadian financial system. So when the Bank of Canada lowers or raises the overnight rate, it does factor into the way commercial banks like your Scotia, your TD, BMO apply interest on credit that they've extended, whether it be credit cards, mortgages, or line of credit. And higher interest rates help to reduce spending and lower inflation. Okay, so since inflation has hit a record high, the Bank of Canada has put this measure in place to raise interest rates. They started doing that as of March 1st of this year. And we're now at the 2.5 mark in terms of where that rate is, but it may go up as high as 3.25 between now and sometime in 2023. And then in terms of, you know, where that interest rate, overnight rate has been, again, for the most part, it's been around the 1 mark. Okay, and then they've just recently started to increase it to curb inflation. And then house prices. So when interest rates started to go up on March 1st of this year, home prices began to decline in what had been one of the world's hottest real estate markets. In Canada, house pricings have dropped about 21.7% on average in just a matter of months. So understandably, some buyers began to grow very fearful. Like, we haven't really seen such a quick price drop like that. And unfortunately, some buyers also no longer qualified for a mortgage. And then in addition to that, rental prices increased substantially. They just skyrocketed, and we're going to go into the numbers. Again, proving that the housing demand was still very present. Okay, so rental prices increased by more than 20% in just a matter of months in certain markets within Ontario. Overall annual rent growth is actually at 16.7% year over year in the GTA, according to Urbanation, and that's actually a record high. So rental prices on average from last year to this year has gone up 16.7%, which is a very substantial increase. It is pricey to rent in the GTA right now. And if you don't believe me, here's the data to show you. It is pricey. The average studio, almost $1,900, one bedroom, just over 21, 1 plus den, 23, 2 bed, 28, 2 bed plus den, 3,100, and then 3 bedroom and plus 37. And this is for condos, guys. This is for condos. This is not even townhouses and detached homes, which is even more higher in price point. And then in terms of what has actually increased the most since these measures have been in place in terms of interest rates going up this year. So for Q2 2022, believe it or not, studios have actually increased the most in rental price in comparison to all other unit types. And it's interesting because I have a lot of my investor clients and they say, well, Tish, I don't want to buy a studio. I only want to buy a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom. Everybody wants a 2 bedroom, by the way. Everybody wants a 2 bedroom. And I say, well, studios are something we need to be open to, especially if your budget only allows for a studio. It's better to consider a studio than wait, right? Because a lot of people are being priced out of being able to afford a 1 bedroom, a 1 plus den, right? So you've got to look at where people are going to be renting, right? And it's what they can afford. And some people, unfortunately, with rising rental rates, can only afford a studio. And they're going to continue to be in more demand as pricing goes up. And with everything that's happened, with inflation rates going up, with interest rates going up, the media went into a frenzy. They went into a frenzy, right? They said Canadian home prices, the largest, decline in months. Do we have a housing bubble that's about to pop? Is the housing market going to crash? And they've caused panic, right? And one thing I can tell you about the way how the human mind works is we make decisions based on our emotions and then we justify it with facts. And I think a lot of people didn't have all the facts that were really necessary to make the right decision on whether to buy or whether to wait. And because of that, a lot of people said, you know what, I'm just going to stick with my emotions, forget the facts. And a lot of people waited, right? So, and that's what we're going into today, right? The facts. And hopefully we can turn that fear into excitement again, happiness, and faith in the real estate market. So what does the future have in store? So I love to compare the real estate market in Canada to the US because a lot of the things that happen there tends to trickle into our market. They too seen crazy price increases during the COVID-19 pandemic. They too have seen inflation rates skyrocket. They too also increased interest rates to curb inflation. And they actually recently reported a lower than expected decline in their inflation rate, which is wonderful. We're actually still waiting for the inflation rate for July of this year. We are expecting the rate to have likely declined as well, which is amazing. That means we may have reached the peak for our inflation. So I'm hoping it's not at 8.1 still, or it's above that. But based on the US and where they're at with their numbers, it looks like we may have peaked, which is amazing. So there will be likely a slowdown in the interest rate hike. I know the Bank of Canada has a meeting on September 7th to see what kind of interest rate hikes we may see in the future, but we're not expecting that that the overnight rate will go up by that much, which is great news. Okay. So what does the future have in store? So for inflation rate, as the Bank of Canada continues to curb inflation by rising the overnight rate, eventually inflation will start to go down. The Bank of Canada will then begin to lower their overnight rate gradually, and mortgage interest rates will also begin to decrease. This will increase the amount of buyers who qualify for a mortgage, which is amazing and so exciting. This will allow the interest on borrowing money to also be lower, and this will also cause an increase in pricing again. So what we're expecting to happen is the Bank of Canada will likely continue to increase their overnight rate. We're thinking it will likely go up to about 3.25, maybe even 3, we'll see. So, that will probably be the max that they will go up to before they begin to go down sometime in 2023 or 2024. That's why a few people are thinking that, prices may skyrocket in 2023. Pricing may go up again in 2023. So it's hard to tell. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know exactly what will happen. But based on the numbers, there is a slight chance that pricing can go up again in 2023. Okay. So what does that mean in terms of housing inventory and supply? So the demand for housing is currently being driven by many factors. One factor is the critical low housing inventory. Okay, so we have the Greenbelt legislation that came into place in 2005. And what that means is that builders, unfortunately, are limited from building on certain land. And that's just to preserve our beautiful land. And unfortunately, it's really caused a restriction on where they can build. And that's why we have so much cranes in GTA right now, because builders will build. If they can't build on land, they're going to build up. And that's why we have so many condos going up right now. There's also low builder housing supply. There is about 30 to 50,000 new homes being built annually by builders, not anywhere near enough. And a lot of that has to deal with the approval process to, the city taking a lot longer than it really should be. But, the housing supply issue is here to stay for a while, unfortunately. And then we have high immigration rate. So this has been largely absent throughout much of 2020 and 2021. We've unfortunately have to slow down with new immigrants coming. But we are expected to see just under 500,000 new immigrants to Canada in the next 2 years. Okay, which is just insane. I don't know where these people are going to go. Like, think about it. We only are building 30 to 50,000 new homes a year, and we're getting what, 250,000? Oh, I think somebody
add students to that too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right now the situation in Warlow Kitchener is so bad that students are staying like in living room, like 3 people in one living room.
Yeah. And what my thoughts are, and I said I wouldn't talk too much about my thoughts, but I do think that they're not going to be able to meet this target. I think, honestly, there's not going to be enough places for these people to go that we're not going to meet the target of under 500,000. In addition to that, we also have record low interest rates. Okay, so some people are thinking, oh my God, interest rates have gone up. They've gone up. We're at 4% now. We're at 3.4%, and it's like, no, we're still at record low interest rates. Okay, we also have more people that are working remotely. So a lot of people are still working remotely, still needing that extra office space, still needing a little bit of space away from family in their house. That's not changing, right? A lot of organizations are now accustomed to working remotely. with their workforce. We do also have a record low unemployment rate of only 5.1, right? So we have a really strong, confident economy, and that's why a lot of even foreign investors are all interested in the Canadian real estate market, right? We have a very, very strong economy. And in terms of rental properties, you know, they are expensive and competitive. We've seen the rates. The average rent in Toronto just hit $24.63 in June of this year. That's an annual increase of 20%. Okay. In addition to that, over the last 48 years, we've had home prices continuously increase. There's been not much of a slowdown in home prices appreciating year over year in the last 48 years. And we know that history is a very big indicator to where our future will lie in many aspects, but definitely in real estate. Okay. So what I want you to do, and I will go on video shortly for this part. So I want you to interact in the chat and answer what you think has happened in the last 48 years when all these things that I'm going to mention has happened, right? And I want you to either put in the chat up or down. So we've had 4 recessions in Canada from the 1960s. So do you think pricing has gone up or down after those 4 recessions? And I'll give you a clue. And again, please just post in the chat up or down, okay? We had the US housing market crisis in the 1970s. And what do you think happened after the US housing crisis? Because again, what happens in the US for whatever reason tends to affect us here in Canada, right? Prices, where do you think it went? We had the mortgage stress test in 2018. So what do you think happened? And then we had COVID in 2020. Kind of gave that away before about what has happened. But what do you think happened, right? Guys, pricing has gone up, right? It's gone up. And it's not going to slow down. It will continue to go up. It probably won't go up at the rate that it has been in the last 2 years. And I would hope that it doesn't happen again, quite honestly, because it was unhealthy. It was unsustainable. But here are the numbers. Okay. So it's going to continue to go up. And I'd hope everybody said up. Someone said COVID, more stress up. Yeah, so it's going to continue to climb, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, so some people think that we have a recession that's going to happen. So we've had 4 recessions since the 1960s in Canada. And after every recession so far, there has been an economic expansion that has more than made up for the previous decline, right? So we've survived 4, and for every single time that we've had a recession, the economy has come back with strong growth. Market dips can be a great opportunity to get your investment strategy in check. Then we have some people who think, oh my goodness, the market's going to crash. So May 2022, we saw some positive signs for those hoping the housing market would turn to more typical conditions. Home sales were down 21.7% across Canada. The positive development in the Canadian real estate market, at least from the perspective of home buyers, is that greater supply could come to the market with declining demand. It represents the market returning to pre-pandemic levels, but does not foretell a crash in the market. Housing market crashes are temporary. So if we do have one, which the likelihood of us having one is very, very, very slim. We have a very strong economy. And prices eventually do return to normal levels, even if we do have one, right? Because we have right now such a huge demand of buyers and not anywhere near enough supply, okay? And I said I wouldn't go into my thoughts, but I'm going to go into it a little bit. I do think we've already had a market crash. And I think that's what we've seen in the last couple of months. That's the market crash. Because the worst is really behind us. We're not going to see prices depreciate as much as it did the last couple of months. The Bank of Canada is not going to increase their overnight rate as much as it did in the last couple of months. The likelihood of them doing that is very, very slim. Okay, so we wanted a crash. I think we kind of had one. Okay, so this is probably one of the biggest questions that I also get asked in this lovely market of ours is, you know, what is the benefit of buying a home now versus waiting? I want to wait until prices go down a little bit more. I want to wait until the interest rate goes down a little bit more. So there's a ton of benefits to buying a home now versus waiting. And, you know, the one benefit to buying a home is you get to build generational wealth for you and your family. You know, I know we've all been taught that we need to work and save money and make sure we have money for retirement, make sure we have a plan in place. But there's so much leverage that you can have through real estate. You can have passive income. You can really build generational wealth in a way that's a lot less hands-off and could really give you and your family a lot of comfort for the many years to come. Okay, in real estate, always buy low, sell high. Right now, prices are low. This is low, right? So now is the time to buy. I have some investors who bought last year and they're saying, oh, Tish, you know, we're thinking of selling our investment property this year. I said, why? Why would you sell? It's only been a year, right? So whenever you decide to buy in the real estate market, you always want to make sure you sell when high. Don't panic sell. Don't try to sell because unless you absolutely have to. And I know situations do change, but always rule of thumb, rule of principle is to buy low and sell high. And this is no longer a quick flip market. I've had people who contacted me last year saying, Tish, you know what, I just want to buy something and then I want to sell it on assignment in 6 months. I would get those calls all the time. Now, not so much. And they say, Tish, I just want to buy and sell in 6 months on assignment. I said, well, that's not real estate. You know, I get that a lot of people had that opportunity to do that in the last 2 years because of COVID and pricing, you know, going up so much. So I get that that opportunity did exist during the last 2 years, but this is no longer a quick flip market. There's risks that come with that. We're becoming more of a normal market. And in a normal market, investors tend to hold on to their investment properties at least 5 years so that if there is any dips in the market, they still level off and they make a profit. And they buy when low and they sell when high. Okay. Interest rates are cyclical and it is common to go up and down. But as we've seen in the last 40 years in that chart, they've consistently increased. Okay. And again, we always tell investors buy and hold for at least 5 years. The spring and summer tend to have the largest housing inventory while the fall and winter months have the lowest inventory. So for my seller clients, some of them come to me and they say, Tish, let's sell in the spring. And I say, well, the spring isn't a bad time to sell, but we'll have more competition because there'll be more housing inventory. Yeah, we'll have more buyers, but there'll be more competition. So we may not get as much for your house than if we sell in the winter or fall. Okay, so in the winter and fall, we tend to see a lot less housing inventory, and we also tend to see more serious buyers. If somebody's buying a house in the winter to move into, they're a serious buyer, and sometimes they're very much willing to pay a pretty penny to get their house that they want, especially when inventory is low. Okay. And, you know, real estate is really one of the safest investments that one can make. So there's a lot of reward that comes from real estate, and, you know, people invest in stocks, people invest in all sorts of different type of things, but real estate is really one of the safest investments that you can make for you and your family's future. And then, of course, there's this lovely chart. So I love this example. And I actually stole this from one of my amazing realtor friends, because I have so many realtor friends that are even on this call, but stole it from one of my realtor friends. And I just love the breakdown of this, right? So January, February of 2022, if you bought a house at 1 million, put a down payment of 200,000 at a low interest rate of 2%, monthly payment worked out to be almost $3,000, right? With prices now being lower in the current market, same down payment, interest rates, variable rates right now are hovering around the 3.4% mark. But if you wanted to go for something fixed around 4.4, then the monthly payment works out to be the same. So this really speaks volumes, because the monthly payment amount is pretty much identical, right? But the cost of the home is not, right? And this is where it's a great time to buy, right? Because pricing has gone down, right? But interest rates, yeah, they're a little high, but they will go back down again, right? So you marry the house and you date the interest rate. And then for Warren Buffett, also a philanthropist, also one of the richest Americans, owner of Berkshire Hathaway. He says, if you don't make money while you sleep, you work until you die. So it's all about passive income and, you know, gaining that generational wealth for you and your family. And that's really the goal. So the buying process of purchasing pre-construction, you meet with me, you create your specific buyer plan and get pre-approved for a mortgage. We review projects, and then you complete a worksheet for your desired project. For any type of condo purchases, you do have what is called a 10-day due diligence period. For freehold properties, there isn't a due diligence period, but during that due diligence period, you'll have the opportunity to provide post-dated checks for the deposit to the builder, and also provide your mortgage letter. The agreement will then be sent to our real estate law team. So I have a real estate law firm that specializes in pre-construction. They're incredible. They break down all the numbers for you, all the fine print that myself don't understand, that you may not understand. They go through all of it. They leave no page unturned to make sure that you're fully protected when you buy pre-construction. And then following them and their review, you then have your decor studio appointment to choose your features and finishes, and then the real estate lawyer then prepares you for closing. So for pre-construction, they're really the most desired type of real estate. Everyone wants a new home. Everyone wants a shiny new thing. And because of that, the industry is very fast-paced, it's very aggressive, and it is highly competitive. So if you see something you like, move quick, even in this market. And then in terms of down payment requirements or deposit, so for pre-construction, it's very different than resale. Okay, so down payment is the required amount that you need to put toward purchasing a home, and the full down payment isn't due until closing. So I have projects right now that are not closing until 2028. And you wouldn't be required to put down that full down payment until 2028. But what builders do require is a deposit. Okay, and the deposit could range from as little as 5% over a period of time to 20% over a period of time. Okay, and this is a typical deposit structure example that I've provided. So a lot of builders right now are providing that 5% per year deposit up until 2024, and then 5% at occupancy. And again, the deposit does go toward your down payment at closing. Right now, I have projects with deposits as low as 5%. And then I want to also go into the pros and cons of buying pre-construction. So the pros are that you're able to pay your down payment over time, not all at once. You're buying a new home that you can personalize the layout, you know, whether you want a ravine lot that backs onto a pond, you know, and there's a lot of less maintenance. There's a lot of positives that come with buying a new home. You don't have to worry about tenants until closing. You don't need to take out a mortgage, right? You have the option of choosing to assign it before closing. You can start to build equity with less hassle. You have flexible options for move-in. So we have some projects right now that are move-in ready. Yeah, you can buy a new home that's move-in ready. And then again, we have some that are closing as late as 2028. There are many incentives such as extended deposit, cashback, and more. We even have some builders that are providing rental guarantee that actually provides positive cash flow. And you could actually lock in today's interest rate for the future. But again, you're not paying any mortgage or interest until closing. And you're not committed to that interest rate. At closing, if interest rates are lower, then you could always go with that interest rate, right? But at least it provides that kind of sense of security knowing that you could lock in today's low interest rate. So the cons for pre-construction, believe it or not, is that you can't move in right away. I mean, for the most part, most projects don't close right away. So, you know, you sometimes have to wait. And then sometimes projects do have delays. Typically, we see delays of anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And although rare, there is a risk of projects canceling. And then the buying process for resale is, again, you meet with me. So make sure to book your call after the webinar. And then we make sure that you're pre-approved for a mortgage. You know, I'll send you a daily list of homes to review and then decide which ones you'd like to see. We then go home shopping, view the properties, put in an offer for your preferred home. Once the offer is accepted, the initial deposit is then due to the listing agent's office. And then if taking out a mortgage, the appraiser does need to go in person to do an appraisal. And then the real estate lawyer that you choose assists you with closing on the home. So the pros and cons of resale. So there's a ton of pros, right? You are able to pay your minimum down payment requirements. You have the potential for positive cash flow, depending on where you buy. You can negotiate prices and terms. We have a lot of buyers right now negotiating pricing up to $50,000 less than asking. They're negotiating all sorts of stuff, like making sure that, you know, they have the opportunity for an inspection, making sure they're double verifying their financing and including that as a condition. And then you do, of course, have the pro of moving in right away, and you can lock in a low interest rate as well. The cons is that you'll need to take out a mortgage at closing unless you're paying cash. You'll have to close on a home with no option to assign for the most part. Deposit and down payments aren't very extended. You typically have to close within about 1 to 3 months. Sometimes you do have maintenance issues if you do purchase an older home. You also have the chance of tenant issues that could arise if you do decide to rent it out. So you want to avoid those bad tenants. And then you can't choose your features and fixtures. You're pretty much buying the home as is. Okay, so there's pros and cons to both. And everyone's situation is different. For some people, it makes sense to purchase resale. For others, it makes sense to purchase pre-construction. Or for some, it makes sense to consider both options, right? And then the down payment requirement for resale and deposit requirement is also a little different. So with down payment, again, it's the required amount that you need to put toward purchasing a home. The full down payment isn't due until closing, but again, closing is usually quite quick, like 1 to 3 months. And then the deposit is typically due within 24 hours of an accepted offer, and it's anywhere between $5,000 to $50,000. And then the deposit does go toward your down payment at closing. So I provided a breakdown of what the down payment requirements are, and let's just go through that. So for purchases of $500,000 or less, just 5% required. For purchases of $500,000 to $999,999, it's 5% on the first $500,000 of the purchase price, and then 10% for the portion of the purchase price above $500,000. And then for any home that's $1 million or more, 20% is required for down payment. Okay.
I have a question with regarding to like pre-construction. Is there any way like you just pay 5% and the rest of the thing can come from like as a loan from banks or something, like considering you're a first-time home buyer?
So it really depends on the builder's deposit requirement, right? So if it's a 5% deposit that the builder requires, then you're not going to be required to pay the remaining balance that's owed on that house until closing. And depending on the purchase price, if it's again under $500,000, then the remaining balance could be put through a mortgage, or if you want to add cash to that, you have the option of doing that. But if it's over $600,000, then you have to pay that difference up to about 6%.
Okay, so just to make it clear that I understand well, so you pay 5% down initially, whatever the builder asks for booking and all that stuff. Right. Once you do that, there is a way where you can tie the bank bank as a loan or guarantor or something, and bank can pay the rest of them in phase manner. Is that correct, what I understand, or is it wrong?
Exactly, depending on the purchase price.
Okay, depending on the purchase price, bank will tie up the loan right away. Okay.
Exactly.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And it also depends on the purchase that you're making. So whether it be a primary home or investment property.
So it's I'm looking from primary perspective. So if you can give me an example, like a quick one. So let's say if I'm buying a project of $600,000, right? And how do you approach that? Like I have 5% with me right now. After that, what should how do I approach this thing?
So I definitely want to answer your question, but I want us to go through the slide because we have a lot to cover. But I will get back to your question at the end, okay?
Okay, no worries.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so tips to buying in this market is to consider assignment sales. So assignment sales are when a buyer purchases a pre-construction project directly from a builder and decides to sell it before closing. Right now, we're seeing assignment sales left, right, and center. They're usually below market value. There's a lot less competition because a lot of people don't know how to find them. And they're a brand new home with flexible closing options. Okay, you could find assignments that are closing in a month, 6 months, next year. There's a lot of flexibility in terms of closing options, location, price point, and home types with assignment sales. With real estate, it's not good to time the market. So, saying, oh my God, I want to wait until 6 months just to see where prices are. It's always best, more beneficial to spend time in the market. We've seen the last 48 years, pricing has continued to go up. Okay, so buy when you're qualified, not when interest rates are low. Again, stick to the model, buy low, sell high. consider both options and decide on which option is best for you. Make sure that you're able to close on the home you buy. Don't buy to just assign. This is no longer a quick flip market. There's a lot of risk with that. Okay. And I've had clients who bought early spring of last year and have made $300,000 equity in 6 months. That's how crazy the market was in the last 2 years. So the slowdown, I'm telling you, it was needed. A lot of people were happy. A lot of people made a lot of good money, but it was really, really needed, guys. So the slowdown had to happen, and I'm so happy it did. When buying resale, negotiate the price. So we see the asking price, lovely. We're going to negotiate whatever the seller's looking for. When buying pre-construction, make sure that there is an assignment clause in place, because although our goal isn't to assign it and sell it off quickly and make the quick flip, things happen. I have a client purchased last year and moved to BC and contacted me and said, Tish, and we're thinking of selling because we want to use that money to buy our primary home in BC. So things happen, right? So because of that, you always want to ensure that an assignment clause is in place. And then, of course, you also want to ensure that development charges and those levies are capped. And, buy investment properties that are close to schools in transit. They're always going to be in demand. They're always going to hold their value, and the rental prices are usually substantially higher than in more rural places that don't have as many schools and transit systems. And then some more tips is that there is something called the Home Buyers Plan, which is a program that allows you to withdraw from your registered retirement savings plan. And then for that, you're able to qualify for a home for yourself or for a related person with a disability. You also have the option of a home equity line of credit, which is a secured form of credit. The lender uses your home as a guarantee that you'll pay back the money that you borrow. A lot of homeowners leverage their HELOC loans during the last 2 years and use that money to invest in real estate. Great opportunity to do that, and I'm so happy that a lot of people did that. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't know about that. So if this is like news to you, you don't know what I'm talking about, again, make sure to book your call because there's a lot of equity that you've made in the last couple of years that you may not know that you can actually leverage without selling your property. You can also refinance your property at a higher amount than the balance you owe and use the money to buy more properties. A lot of people also don't think about that. They're just like, yeah, let's just refinance or, let's just renew our mortgage and carry on. Like, no, you can refinance a little bit more, put it toward, your savings, put it toward another investment, put it toward paying off some debt. You have a lot of options when you own property. You could also buy with family, friends, or borrow money from family and friends to help you with making your purchase. And to those first-time home buyers, your first property doesn't have to be your dream home. Sometimes it's best to buy an investment property first and then build your wealth and then buy your dream home. Okay. And I do want to touch on some listings. So I do currently have 2 resale listings in Tiltenburg. I told my seller clients that I'd mentioned it on this webinar. I do have 2 amazing resale opportunities right now in Tiltenburg, priced at $749. They're 2 beds, 2 baths, beautiful large walk-in closet bungalows. And then I also have an assignment sale that's for sale in Brantford, very unique 1-level bungalow townhouse, priced at $849. Okay, both sellers are motivated. So contact me for more information. And let's get into some pre-construction projects, right? So there's quite a few. And I will send you guys an email with all the projects after the call. So I'm going to go through them at a high level just because I have quite a bit to go through. And then at the end, I'll talk about some coming soon opportunities as well in the pre-construction world. So right now we have UC Tower 3 by Tribute Communities. Very, very reputable, large builder in the Durham region. This is their third tower that they've just launched. A lot of investors have made a lot of money by investing in this project. Pricing right now is from the 500s. There is an extended deposit with reassignment. It's closing in 2024. It's close to Durham College and GO Station. Again, I'm going to go through this at a very fast pace because there's a lot to go through, and I do want to be mindful of the time. So this is View Point in Pickering. Absolutely love this project. It's going to be a master plan community of 3 towers. This is their first tower. The closing is set for May of 2026. Pickering is going through a huge, huge redevelopment. There's going to be a casino there in the next couple of years. There's going to be massive retail and various different master plan community to the area. And it's also the closest Durham city to Toronto. Okay, so a lot of value right now in Pickering. This is also minutes to the Pickering Town Center and their GO Transit. We have Bridge House at Brightwater. This is in Mississauga. I absolutely love Mississauga. I've lived in Mississauga for 3 years. So I'm a little biased when it comes to the city. Starting pricing for condos right now at this project is in the 600. You get a free island. There's a really great extended deposit structure. This is one of the largest master plan communities in Canada. In Port Credit, amazing area. Just a phenomenal investment opportunity with move-in date for June of 2025. Mississauga definitely checks a lot of boxes when it comes to wants for both investors and end users. And of course, we have the design district in Hamilton. So condos starting from the 400s, amazing 5% yearly extended deposit and incentives. You get a free Louis bag if you do purchase here. Closing is going to be in 2026. Hamilton will have more than 20 towers in the next couple of years. There's a lot of transformation happening to that area. There's also Mohawk College, McMaster University, that's in the region. Just a ton of growth in Hamilton, guys. And the rental demand there is insane. I've had a rental property in Hamilton for the last 4 years, and every time I put up a rental posting on Kijiji, the demand was just insane. Like, there's not anywhere near enough housing in Hamilton to meet the demand of renters. So it's an exquisite project. And what really stands out to me about this one is it's going to be a landmark piece in Hamilton because it will be in collaboration with Louis Vuitton. There will be Louis Vuitton furnishings in the building. And there's, of course, Highland Commons. So a condo in Scarborough, priced from the 400s, incredible incentives right now. So they have a low assignment fee, really great deposit structure, reduced parking locker. It's closing in 2025. And this one, honestly, is such an incredible project just because of how transit-oriented this project is. It's 5 minutes to GO Station, 3 minutes to the Eglinton LRT station, 3 minutes to the University of Toronto, and you have direct access to 401. So, I mean, this is just an incredible project. And also it's in a really great, desirable area with properties that have a lot of high value. Then there's the Greenwich in Oakville, so condos from the 700s. So every condo that's selling right now comes with free parking, free locker, free assignment, and a 10% extended deposit structure. Closing is for 2025. It's close to GO Station and Sheridan College, as well as the QEW. Oakville, honestly, one of the most desired areas to live in for many end users. It's also fairly close to Toronto, and just a remarkable area to live in. It's interesting because what a lot of people don't know is that Oakville's average home prices is actually higher than Toronto. A lot of people don't know that, but Oakville is where it's at. So a lot of amazing growth expected for coming years in the area. And of course, we have Verde Living in Kitchener, pricing starting from the 400s. Right now, they have incredible incentives, VIP pricing, deposit structure of 10% that's spread out. They're providing up to 15,000 cash back, just depending on which unit you get, free assignment, cap levies, just a lot of amazing things that are happening in Kitchener. You have a huge tech hub. You have an incredible amount of post-secondary institutions such as the University of Waterloo, Laurier University, Mississauga College. The GO transit system that's there will be expanding to make commuting from Toronto quicker and more frequent in the next couple of years. And there's a ton of new condos coming to the area. So good time to get in early before pricing goes up and demand is very strong in that area. Then we have Apex Condos, also in Hamilton. Right now they have 2 bedrooms from the 600s. They have an extended deposit structure. They're closing in April 2025. Again, there's just so many selling points to Hamilton that I've mentioned before. So just an incredible opportunity to get into a great project. We also have 699 condos in Toronto, pricing from the 600s. Just unheard of incentives. They're providing rental guarantee. I don't know of any other project right now in Toronto providing rental guarantee. I don't know of any. This one's closing in 2024. It's minutes to the Bessarion TTC station, the Oriole GO station, Seneca College, and Sunnybrook Hospital. Then we have Southport Swansea. So this is in Toronto, it's close to Hyde Park. Pricing from the 600s. They have a 5% a year deposit structure, and right now have a 0 closing cost promotion. Closing is set for early 2026. What really sticks out to this is that you'll have water views. Right now, we're dealing with critical low inventory of housing that could be on the waterfront and have these lake views. So if you're able to own a piece of land that has that water view, it's just going to hold its value and have a ton of appreciation in the future. Then we have Daniel's Pickering. So this is Pickering townhouses starting in the 600s. They have a VIP limited time deposit structure of 5%, free parking, and free appliances. They do have some townhouses that are actually move-in ready, and others are closing in mid of 2023. This is only a 30-minute drive to downtown Toronto, 5-minute drive to Highway 401. It's close to GO Station, and it's just a stunning community. They also have some model homes that you can tour as well if you're interested. There's also hometown Hillsdale. So Hillsdale is a community that's near Barrie. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's in Barrie. It's not in Barrie, it's near Barrie. It's a little north of Barrie. Beautiful community of detached homes, stunning master plan community, pricing starting from 1.5 million. Extended deposit structure, builders giving 20,000 back in decor dollars. Closing is set for September 2025. Why buy? Barrie is exploding in value. And you know, this is going to be minutes to the Highway 400. You have Georgian College that's close by to the area. Rental prices in Barrie are really high, and just several master plan communities that are happening in the surrounding areas. So a lot of value. Then we have Empire Winfield, that's in Brantford. So these are freehold townhouses from the 700s. You have an extended deposit structure of only 60,000. Move-in date is for 2023. This is also close to GO Station and 3 post-secondary schools, and also is about 20 to 25 minutes away from Hamilton. We also have Daniel's first home, Hillsdale. So this is located in Toronto, a small community called Hillsdale. It's a mix of both towns and condos, priced from the 500s. They have a really great extended deposit structure of only 10% right now. The move-in dates they have are 2024 and 2025. It is just a short walk to local TTC transit. There are several daycares that are close by, community centers, playground, a really great up-and-coming community. It's also close to Humber River Hospital. We also have the Anthem condos in Guelph. I've had so many investors this year buy property in Guelph. And I think the reason is because there's not a lot of projects that come out of that region. Like they're dealing with a very low inventory issue, especially when it comes to condos. This is an incredible project, prices from the 400s, 10% extended deposit, free assignment, 4K decor credit, zero development charges, just amazing incentives, guys. Like these incentives were unheard of 6 months ago. And move-in date for August of 2024. It's only 4 minutes from the Guelph Central Station. This is a master plan community. Some of the units do have a water view. It's close to Via Rail, Go Transit, and it's about a 6 to 7 minute commute to the University of Guelph. There's also Empire Lush, so this is in Hamilton, it's in Stony Creek, so it's townhouses priced from the 600s. Right now, they're providing a 5-year free maintenance fee incentive, special extended deposit structure of only $50,000. Move-in date is, they have some move-in ready homes, and then they also have some that are late 2022. Why buy? So 5 minutes to QEW, again, close to McMaster University and 2 GO stations. We also have Empire Avalon. This is in Caledonia. So those who don't know where Caledonia is, it is near Hamilton, about 30 minutes from Hamilton, pretty much between Hamilton and Brantford. They have townhouses and detached homes. Townhouses are actually starting from the 800s, detached from the 900s. VIP extended deposit structure, 5K and decor dollars is what they're providing right now. Closing is set for mid-2023. This is going to be a master plan community of over 3,000 homes. They're about halfway into their target right now. I think they have about 1,500 homes that they've sold so far. So good time to get in early and invest while pricing is good. We have Empire Imagine, which is located in Niagara Falls. So they're townhouses from the 600s, only a 50K extended deposit, free 1-year leasing services. Move-in date is set for the summer. Why buy? So it's again minutes from the Niagara Falls Strip. We have the Niagara Escarpment, different wineries, and Lake Ontario that's close by. Niagara Falls has just skyrocketed in value. I mean, you have Brock University, you have the border that's there. You know, they have one of the highest amount of tourists that come to the region. It's an Airbnb hot zone, and they also have Go Transit expansion, which will make commuting from downtown Toronto. Apparently, I was told within 1 hour. I don't know how they're going to target that. I don't know how they're going to do it, but a lot is happening in that region. A lot of people are investing. Lots of master plan communities. Niagara is on fire right now. Again, Niagara, so this is in Welland. You have townhouses and detached homes from the 600s, incentives of anywhere from 60 to 90K. Deposit structure is also extended for this project. It's currently selling. Closing is anywhere from mid to end of 2023. This checks a lot of boxes. Welland is really a great up and coming area. It's close to Niagara Falls, yeah, about 90-minute drive from Toronto. Then we have Moda, which is the incredible project in the Waterloo region. Consists of condos starting from the 400s for 1 bed, 2 bedrooms are in the 500s. Limited time VIP price and incentive. Prices include a $15,000 cashback at closing. So just unheard of incentives, guys. Free assignment, and this one has a really special 5% extended deposit structure. The move-in date is for winter of 2024. This checks a lot of boxes because it's only 5 minutes to the University of Waterloo, and it's also a 10-minute drive to the Google office. Then we have Belmont in Newcastle. We're almost done, by the way, guys. So a few slides left. We have Belmont in Newcastle, detached homes from low 1 million. This is, I believe, one of the few pre-construction projects currently selling in Durham that have detached homes available. Right now, the builder is providing incredible incentives. So they have a $2,500 monthly deposit structure. They do allow assignment. They actually have a new incentive that they just launched the last couple of days. and you have the option of either having a $0 interest mortgage or a finished basement. So what that $0 interest mortgage incentive is for the first 6 months of you moving in or having possession of your home, they're going to charge you no interest on your mortgage. And then following the 6 months after, it will be whatever interest rate that they agree on with their lender. So it's some type of program that they have with their lender where the first 6 months of you moving into your new home or having possession, you're not paying any interest on your mortgage. You have that as an option, or you can just choose to have them finish your basement. Move-in date is set for late 2023. Why buy? Minutes from Highway 401. It's only 10 minutes from Bowmanville. Bowmanville will be having a new GO station, and the Durham region has just been exploding in value, and it's actually a really good price for these homes. So incredible value. One of the few low rises that are currently selling. There's not many right now. Lots of condos. This project name, Radio Arts in Hamilton, condos from the 500s, incredible incentives, guys, like free assignment, 5% for your extended deposit, rental guarantee. They're currently selling with move-in date of July 2nd of 2025, about 45 minutes from Toronto, minutes to new GO station in Hamilton and Hamilton LRT, 1 hour to Union Station, and 5 minutes to McMaster University, QW and Highway 403. This sticks out because it's literally the only condo I know in Hamilton offering a rental guarantee. Really great project, really great incentives. Then we have GO Towns and Barrie, townhouses from the 700s, really great extended deposit, anywhere from 80 to 100K, just depending on the model. You're giving free 5K towards eCore dollars, free appliances, free air conditioning unit, free electric car, charger rough-in. Closing is anywhere from October 2023 to March of 2024. Again, this is only a 10-minute drive to Georgian College, 2-minute drive, an 8-minute walk to Barrie GO Station. So this is very close to the local GO Station. That's why it's called GO Towns. I actually seen it on a map. It is ridiculously close to the GO Station. So really great investment opportunity. Barrie property values continue to go up. It's just exploded in the last couple of years. A lot of people are moving to the area. Great community, great schools. Rental prices are high, and yeah, just a lot of master plan communities happening in the area. Then we have River Valley. This is in Calgary, condos from the 200s, exclusive free assignment. There's no land transfer tax, short-term rental potential with huge cash flows. The move-in date is for 2024, 50 minutes from downtown Calgary and only an hour to the mountains. And again, it's Airbnb friendly. And then coming soon. So I do have a few projects that are coming soon. And of course, if you're on my email list, I will keep you updated on projects. Every Saturday morning, I send out a list of projects that are currently selling. Sometimes I do also include some that are coming soon. So we do have North Oak Tower that's coming soon in Oakville. So it's a master plan community project of condos. We have 8 Elm condos that's coming to Yonge and Dundas in downtown Toronto. That's supposed to be launching in September. We also have Metro side condos in town coming in Calgary. Pricing will be from the 300s, an incredible project by a builder called Greywood Development. They're actually very unique because they're a builder that has projects both in Toronto and in Calgary. So you have that comfort of knowing that, okay, well, I can actually go downtown Toronto and see their office and know this is actually a real development company. And then of course there's Bristol Places. So Bristol Place Condos in Brampton was supposed to launch early this year and kind of delayed, but they're expected to launch in the fall. Brampton, I love the Brampton real estate market. It's interesting because it's such a fast-moving, aggressive market, but for whatever reason, there hasn't been a lot of condo launches. I think there's only been 2. So Bristol Place will probably be the 3rd one. So the demand for the condo market in Brampton will continue to be high because of the low supply that they're dealing with. And then the Valley Lands in 16 Mile Creek. So that's actually a community of townhouses and detached homes coming to Milton by Fieldgate Homes. We also have Mayfield Collection, which is a release of detached homes in Brampton this fall. And then we also have Nature's Grand, which is towns and detached homes coming in Brantford in the next couple of weeks. And that's it. So thank you so much for attending. Please ensure you book a home buyer preview and buyer plan meeting with myself and my team. The link is in the chat. I know we've had a few people respond in the chat, so please just make sure to scroll up, or you can put this link into your browser and you can book a call with me. I don't want everybody to unmute and ask questions. I know a lot of you probably do have questions. So if you can just put your questions in the chat, I'll do my best to answer. And then, yeah, to those who have to leave the call, again, thanks for attending. And yeah, have a wonderful day. So let's go into questions that we have. Oh, we have quite a few. Okay. So why is studio higher in rent? So studios rental prices aren't higher. It's just that the demand has gotten high recently for studios. And that's why they've actually appreciated in terms of rental pricing at a higher pace than the other home types. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question. So question, why is pre-construction prices the same? Hamilton condos have gone up, in fact, from last year. So that's a really good question. So yeah, you'll see like right now there's pre-construction projects in Toronto from the 500s, and there's pre-construction projects in Oakville from the 700s, right? So what happened during COVID-19 is a lot of people that lived in Toronto or the core of the GTA moved to the outskirts. So they moved to, your Oakville, they moved to Brampton, they moved to Hamilton, they moved to Kitchener, Oshawa, because they didn't have to worry about commuting to work anymore to the city, to Toronto. And that caused those areas to skyrocket in pricing. And because of that, that's why you're seeing the price reflect what it is. So some projects in those areas are priced a little bit higher because of that. They've gone up a lot in value, and they're actually holding their value overall. There's a statistic that came out for last month that actually showed the Hamilton region actually is on top when it comes to year-over-year price appreciation. Because despite what the news is saying about pricing going down, overall, we've had year-over-year price appreciation still in most regions in Ontario. And Hamilton's year-over-year price appreciation for last month was 10%. They're leading. So those areas are going to hold their value because a lot of organizations don't require people to come into the office anymore. So a lot of people are still moving to those other areas. And because of that, it's holding its value. Okay. Would you get a pre-approval before getting a pre-construction before putting a down payment on one? It's always best to get a pre-approval before home shopping. So I do recommend it. There are instances where buyers contact me, they're just like, oh my gosh, I want this project, I want this particular unit. Can we get a pre-approval later? And sometimes I say it's okay if it's a condo purchase, because with condo purchases, you do have that 10-day due diligence period. So you do have that time to make sure that you are pre-approved for the condo during that due diligence period. For resale, you don't necessarily have that. You can put in a condition of financing, but for resale, I don't even advise stepping foot into any house without getting a pre-approval, because it's just going to be a waste of time and energy for you and your family. And for down payment, yeah, so it depends really on the project, right? So some projects, they're only requiring 5%. Some require extended 15%, 20%. So, it's best that we look at your financial situation, kind of see what works best for you, and then decide what project makes sense based on that. But yeah, it really depends on what the deposit requirements are for the pre-construction project and determining when it would be best for you to pay your down payment based on what money you have currently saved and is expected to have in the future. And what happens when the new project cancels? So if a pre-construction project does cancel, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So if it cancels, your deposit, a portion of your deposit is covered under tier and warranty. So you do get it back. For the most part, if a project cancels, you get it back within either a few months, but sometimes it does take a few years. Okay, it's not often, but typically you get it back within a few months. So any money that you put toward a pre-construction project, it is stored into the builder's lawyer's trust account. So it's safe, but sometimes it takes a while to get that funds back to you. Okay, and that's why it's important to work with reputable builders. And I could tell you right now, I don't share projects for all builders because there's some that I refuse to support, okay, because of their shady practices. So for the most part, they're good, but there's a few that I won't even sell their project. I don't recommend their project, and I won't share it. So it's important to look at the builder's reputation, see if they have a history of canceling projects, see how long they've been in the game, and yeah, and then do your due diligence when buying. But projects, a few of them do cancel, so it's important to choose the right builder and the right project. You can take a line of credit for the installments. Absolutely, you can take out a HELOC loan to help with your installment payments for your pre-construction purchase. So for first-time home buyers, what if you have two first-time buyers? Will both be applied to the home? So I'm not too sure by what you mean by will both be applied to the home. So for first-time home buyers, any incentives that you have, if they're both first-time home buyers, will continue to apply to you and your purchase. Will both be applied to the home if you qualify. So you might want to provide a little bit more context so I can help to better answer that. So I see a lot of condos. Is there any homes that are pre-construction? I do have a few low-rise homes that are available through pre-construction. Again, guys, builders are not building enough homes. I can tell you that for a fact. We have a housing shortage. We don't have a lot of pre-construction low-rises, but we do have a few. And I have a few that I've actually not mentioned on this call. So again, book your call with me. I'm happy to go through a few different options I have. What does rental guarantee mean? So what it means is the builder's pretty much promising that after completion and after closing, they're going to guarantee to give you a certain amount of money on a monthly basis as a tenant and you can put that toward your mortgage and any expenses that you have for the condo. So I have a builder right now in Kitchener that's offering $3,000 per month rental guarantee. Okay, so a lot of amazing incentives right now, and it provides a peace of mind knowing that you're going to have rent guaranteed. You don't have to worry. Even if you have a bad tenant, they're still going to guarantee you that rent. So it really provides a peace of mind to know that you're going to have that in the future. And before, rental guarantees were like unheard of. So how come the 2-bedroom condo is mid-700 for Hamilton design district, but you're saying detached homes in Bradford, Hamilton are on 800? Did I hear this right? So 2-bed condos is mid-700 for Hamilton district. Yeah, so guys, with pre-construction pricing for different regions, there's various reasons why pricing is priced the way they are. Yeah, 2-bedroom condos in the Hamilton area do touch the 700 mark right now, and that's just because that's where the value lies, right? The condo market has really taken off over the last couple of years. Hamilton has been one of the most desired areas for investors to invest in. And believe it or not, they actually have their phase 2 launch this Friday. So they're selling. So, it holds its value. And that's why the builders are pricing that way. And then in Brantford, Hamilton area, around 800K. So not for detached homes. Townhouses in Brantford, not Bradford, are starting from the 600s, and then detached homes near Hamilton, so in Caledonia, are starting from the 900s. So I think there might have been some confusion there, but. So if I have 5% down, how do I finance the rest of the pre-built condo? So if you have 5% down and the price of the home is under 500,000, then what you do is at closing, whatever that remaining balance is, that 95% would be put toward taking out your mortgage. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But it depends on the project. So there's some projects that, most projects don't have a 5% deposit structure. That's very rare. But for the most part, they have a 15 to 20% requirement, right? So it really depends on what the deposit requirements are for the builder. Whatever that difference is, depending on the purchase price, would be what you would be able to get for financing at closing. Okay, so book your call with me. You can break down the numbers a little bit further. I have mortgage calculators that could really show you the numbers, and it'll make a lot of sense once you book that call. Can you put up again the Toronto condo with water view? So it's Southport Swansea. So I'm going to share information on that project in my email. And I don't know if that's the end. Okay, so it looks like that's the end. No questions. No assistance. Okay, so I'm happy to put that back up. I think it's quite a ways away, but so it's Southport Swansea. This is close to High Park. Awesome. So again, I'm going to share all the project information with everyone. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. I think we have one other chat that's come in. Thank you. Okay, awesome. I hope you guys got a lot of value from this. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye.